Hi, I'm Leah. My channel is Common Sense Mother. My website is commonsensemother.com. Please subscribe if you like this type of content and click the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Today I just wanted to talk really quickly about something that parents and moms tend to debate about, and that's whether the transition from having no kids to having one kid is the hardest, or going from having one kid to having 2 or 3 or more kids is the hardest. So I can't really speak to what it's like to have more than 2 kids because we only have 2, but I just wanted to give my perspective on which transition was harder for me. And I can see that a lot of people will say that the hardest transition for them was going from having 0 kids to having your first child. And I can understand that because when you don't have any kids, you have a lot more freedom in terms of your time and your ability to sort of do things without a lot of advanced planning. You might have more money. There's just a lot more options open to you when you are child free. You can have a lot more control over your sleep, your ability to have a clean house, and all kinds of things like that. So yeah, it can be really hard to go from being, child free to becoming a parent for the first time. But I just want to say, at least for me personally, going from having 1 child to having 2 was a lot harder, and so let me tell you why that was for me personally. For the first reason is that basically, you'll hear people say the phrase, it's more than double the work to have 2 children as opposed to having 1. And I didn't understand what that meant. And then my mom explained it to me that basically when you have, 2 children, you have all the work of the first child plus all the work of the second child, and then you have the work of them interacting together. So basically say that your older child is playing with blocks, and then your baby comes over, crawls over and knocks over the blocks. And then you have to sort of interact with both of them. Your older child may be upset. So there's a lot of extra work that comes from them interacting in addition to what they both need separately. And that makes complete sense, and it's very true. But the second reason, at least for me, that it was harder going from 1 child to 2 children is that basically you have many more demands on your time, right? Because you have to give, your time to your first child as well as your second child. And then there's also issues like, say you're putting your baby down for a nap. What do you do with if you're home by yourself, what do you do with your older child so that they don't wake the baby up? There's all kinds of little things like that tend to come up when you have 2. You have 2 bedtime routines that you have to do. Potentially you have to change, 2 sets of diapers if your, older child isn't potty trained when you have second. So there were just all kinds of things like that for me made it harder. And one more thing that I thought makes it harder is that it's certainly when you have 1 child, it's harder to get out of the house and do things, or it requires a lot more planning. You have to bring a lot more things if you want to go away overnight or whatever. But when you have 2, it's even more difficult, and you have to bring even more things with you. So all those things combined for me really, I thought made having the transition from 1 child to 2 children a lot harder. I know that there are people who have 3 and 4 and 5 children, and I can't imagine what that's like. Some people tend to say that you're just so used to it that you tend to let a lot more things go. I don't know, I don't have that experience, so I can't really speak to that. But I just kind of wanted to say why I thought having 2 was just so much harder than having 1. I felt like 1 was relatively easy, but 2 is definitely much harder. So yeah, please subscribe to my channel. I'll be making a lot of short videos in the future. And thanks so much for listening. Take care.